Welcome back. Today, let us see how we can install Windows 11 on top of VMware. To download VMware, we need to first go to vmware.com, and there is a VMware Workstation 17 Pro which you can download. This is a trial version. You can use all the features and function for almost 30 days, and after installing VMware Workstation 17, we can install Windows 11 on top of Workstation 17. VMware Workstation is a Type 2 hypervisor which you can use to run any kind of operating system like Linux or Windows. I also have downloaded the Microsoft Windows 11 ISO file which I will be using to start the installation process using this ISO file. Let me start creating the virtual machine. I already have VMware Workstation 16 Pro which I am using. I will create a virtual machine out of VMware Workstation 16 Pro. Let me start by creating a virtual machine. Create a new virtual machine and select typical or custom. If you select typical, you will see some options here. Basically, I'll use custom, then click next. It will automatically find the VMware Workstation 16 which is compatible on my PC. So I choose VMware Workstation 16. Then I will click next. It says no drive detected because there is no bootable drive. I have to select the ISO file. I'll select the ISO file and I will select browse for this PC, and I will simply select desktop, and I have Windows 11. I will select the ISO file, Windows 11 ISO file, open, and click next. I have to select, because this is a Windows operating system, I have to select Microsoft Windows here. I'll select Microsoft Windows and I'll choose what type of operating system I'll be installing. It is Windows 11, so I'll keep it as Windows 10 64-bit, and next I'll say Win. Click on next. You have an option to select the BIOS. I will select the recommended option, UEFI. Then click next. I'll select the processor, number of cores, and processor I will choose 2 and let it be 2. I'll click next. I can increase or decrease the RAM. I can simply increase or decrease the RAM capacity here. I'll choose 4 GB here, and or you can simply enter 4096 for 4 GB. Click on next. You can choose the networking type, whichever you want. I'll use network address translation NAT network. Let's say logic. Next. I'll choose NVMe, which is also there in my PC. Here it is asking me to create a virtual disk. I can create a virtual disk, or I can use a physical disk, or you can use an existing disk. I'll simply say store virtual disk as single file, and also I don't want to allocate all the disk space now. VMware also provides you the thin provisioning concept, so I don't allocate the entire 60 GB at initial stage. Next, and this is the disk file which will be created. Click on next and finish. So once the virtual machine is created, you have an option to edit the virtual machine hardware, and you can add any component after creating virtual machine. I don't want to create any hardware now. I'll simply power on the virtual machine. Let me see if the Windows 11 is able to boot. I'll press enter. Let me see if Windows is able to boot. I'll select install now. Right now I don't have product key, so I'll simply select I don't have product key. And whichever operating system version I wanted to install or edition I wanted to install, I can select from here and select next. I am installing Windows 11 Pro, which is of 64-bit. If you see here, the Windows 11 has booted perfectly fine, but it is not able to continue the setup process. This is the reason when you install Windows 11 on your VMware Workstation. This reason is simply because I will troubleshoot it further. To run Windows 11 on virtual machine using VMware Workstation, we need to do some additional configuration. If I come back to the Microsoft site and see, there are two main settings which needs to be enabled. If this is a physical machine, then the new machine comes with this feature embedded already. Since we are installing the Windows 11 on top of VMware Workstation, we need to modify some settings on the VMware Workstation. Let us do some modification on the VMware Workstation and see if we are able to boot the Windows 11 operating system. I am back to the virtual machine on VMware Workstation. Let me right click and click on settings. In the settings, you have an option, and there is also advanced, and you will see in advanced you have an option to select enable secure boot. I have to select this option, and also I need to select access control, and since it is not encrypted, I have to encrypt. If you see the Microsoft document, it clearly says there should be a TPM. TPM is basically a chip which is already embedded in the newer PCs or the laptop, which already comes with the TPM chip embedded. This TPM chip is basically a trusted platform module which enhances the security for the Windows 11 operating system, and Windows 11 has a requirement of this TPM chip. So let us go back to the virtual machine and see the configuration, what we have to do. So we are here at access control. In access control, you click on encrypt because this is not encrypted. I have to encrypt. Click on encrypt and you can provide any password for the encryption. I'll simply provide any combination of alphanumerical characters. Let me see if it works. Yeah, it has taken the password and click OK. Let me try and see if Windows is able to boot. Okay, it has timed out. Let me restart. Power on, you can actually power off or reset. Simply reset. And enter to boot the Windows. Let us see if the Windows 11 is able to boot successfully and it can continue the installation process without any issues. I will select next, install now, and I don't have the key. I don't have key. And I will select Windows 11 Pro Edition 64-bit. Next. This PC doesn't meet the minimum system requirements to install this version of OK. Again, there is a problem which we need to sort out. Let me try and troubleshoot what is the issue. I found out an article related to the issue what I am facing, and this article clearly mentions the issue which we are facing for Windows installation, and the settings whatever in this article as mentioned, I have configured those settings except this one, TPM. I have not installed the TPM, but I had encrypted the virtual machine. I need to encrypt and also add the TPM component. Let me try and go back to the virtual machine and see how I can add the TPM component and start the virtual machine again and see if the setup process continues. Now let me shut down, power off. I will edit the virtual machine and I can add the component trusted platform module, TPM module, and finish. In the article, it is mentioned we need to add this TPM module. The options I have already set, and this one I have already set, enable secure boot. So all the options are now configured. Let me try and power on the virtual machine. I will enter to boot. Click on next, install now. I don't have the product key. I will select Windows 11 Pro Edition and click next. Let us see what is the status. Yes, now I am able to see this dialog box for the agreement. So once this has come, we are rest assured that Windows setup will continue without any issues. I'll click on, this is a new installation, custom installation. I'll select the disk and click next, and the setup continues. Now we are done with the setup process, and successfully the Windows installation is getting installed. This process will take some time and it might require a couple of reboot, and after the reboot it might ask for the activation key. You need to have an activation key to activate the Windows. Yes, after a couple of reboot, we can see the Windows 11 has completed the setup process and it is in the final stage of configuration. There is some additional configuration which you need to do for the Windows 11 operating system to be completely set up. Once you set up, you might need an activation key, and I have already created a video and it shows how to activate the Windows using the product key. You can use that video for your reference and you can activate the Windows. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe so that I can bring more videos like this. Thank you.